Hello, traders. This is Wyckoff Trader coming with you with the AM turn. This is a private subscriber edition. We'll get right to it. Issue number 659. We're looking at Tuesday, April the 28th. We're going to cut right to the chase. You already know all the numbers here. You can see here we had a pretty decent day. We gave you the level 29.12, and that had to be quick, fast, and handy. There's a couple of reasons why you'd want to do that, and we'll talk about that. And we get to the pros of the numbers, so we get to the YouTube cut. So we're looking at the open, came in, Globex at 29.69, put in a high of 29.08. That kind of gave us the bias that the bid could have been to the upside, but it was a day type that we'll get into just in a moment. We'll just go ahead and give it to you right now. So once again, just to recall, that 355, 351 seems to be a pretty good marker for when you have a trend day. And this was both particularly a trend day within reason. We'll go with that. Coming in, put in the low of 28.51. Yeah, I've got everything updated. So Globex range that day was like 57, and the day prior was 37, and that had been on that Monday. And so if you recall, if you look at the market recap video or the early read video, I talked that we had some potential preliminary supply coming in Friday, and then of course coming in Monday. So today's action was at up thrust, and if you recall, you might want to play it back, and when I do the public cut, I'll do some video splicing in there. But either way, you could see that was potential thrust because we were moving up on low volume. So that's kind of what we're looking at for today's action. We were trying to come up out of that trading range. The bigger picture Wyckoff, you were looking at a potential buying climax, automatic rally. And of course, today was a secondary test with an up thrust. And for the most part, the trend had ended. Now, it's either going to be an arresting spell for further upside movement or obviously distribution for downside movement. Weekly pivot was 28.07. Of course, coming here, those were the floor data pivots. Coming in, we opened at 29.08, which is not what the ideal situation you want to see. Once again, we spiked it up on little to nothing to 29.12, then we sold it off all day. Settled out at 28.52, and we had thereabouts a 55 handle run. And settled in at 28.67, had a lot of volume coming in. Two things we want to take away. The ease of movement for this day was definitely to the downside. Okay, 60 handle trading range. We've actually bettered the 57 we had the last couple of days, and the volume was at 1.2. Very consistent volume on the downside. I always forget to get this out to you for the subscribers. Yes, I have skin in the game. Let's get to that disclaimer. I trade my own personal account, sardine, tuna, billfish trades for educational purposes only. Not a futures broker, do not manage any accounts. My intent to show where trades may occur. What you do is up to you. You can follow my levels, ideas to profit or loss. You determine trade size, when, where, how you trade. CFD futures is not for everyone. It's a volatile, complex, and risky business. Before you invest, know how much you can afford to lose. And obviously the day before, we talked about this, and this is where the beauty of Wyckoff comes into play. And this is the E-minis here, and of course this is the Wyckoff wave. And you might want to replay that market recap video we gave you, but you can easily see a divergence. Okay, that's what divergence is all about. The Wyckoff wave, your major indexes, they topped out at about 3 o'clock or somewhere thereabouts. And of course, the E-mini, it tops out at 351. And then it rallies and it sails off, not extremely hard, but a little bit of volume coming back. And that was the first lean that we had. All right, what do pundits have to say about that? Here we go. Let's see. Reflected continued optimism, a hope and a prayer. The light is at the end of the tunnel, and obviously there's a train on the other side. It's got its name called, Georgia, South Carolina, and Colorado. Well, I don't know about Colorado. I went out and I checked my stylus, and they don't open up till May the 9th. And hopefully my salon stylist gentleman is still living. He's in his late 80s. He survived, obviously. Hopefully, we hope he did. And the plan to ramp up testing. Retail's got their own thing they want to do. Way short at the start of trading, inspiring some traders to cash in on recent strength in the markets. No, not really. They've been cashing in on the last 2 days. And that's what I talked about. Even the Thursday, they were cashing when we saw that major little dip right there for, what was it, 300 points in the Dow futures and 43 points in the S&P in over 2 minutes. Yeah, a little volume came in and picked that back up. All right, so once again, we had a good day. You'd have to be quick and right on the trigger and just kind of trust the levels, as they say, and there's no reason not to. But in the opening, you never know. You never know, and you could still jump in a little bit lower and got on board, but that'll give you about a 55 handle run, give you 2,750 on a one lot and 8,250 on a three. The days don't happen all the time, but when they do, they sure are nice. Well, I asked my mom tonight, did she have any good advice for us? And she said she was still thinking about it. So we'll go with what we left here. Like it or not, price is climbing that wall of word that says shorts are getting squeezed. I talked about this already. I recapped it from my memory. The volume was, like I said, 0.9 on 52 handle range Tuesday, 0.8 on a 37 handle day. And the Globex range is 57 handles on 240. They start the Fed. Yeah, we'll pull back to the port line now. Buying pressure looking to challenge the highs. And what did we do today? Well, we did what? We did 60 handles. Did 60 handles on 1.2. Okay, that's not what you want to see. The ease of movement is definitely to the downside. Let's get to it. Came in here. We're looking at the bullish side. And obviously, it was going to be bullish, because, well, the spring is here and the corporate earnings were all abound. And for the most part, they said the exact same thing I did, but only a few 100,000 more folks had died. And so now we're just kind of getting used to it. It's called desensitized to the numbers. And that's really what's going on. And, of course, we got our own little private dilemma of the folks that are surviving. YouTube, you won't get this. It'll be cut out. Yeah, those are nice numbers, and it could have gotten higher, but obviously it didn't. Now, did it? So once again, social distance will last all summer long. We talked about that. International trade, bigger picture supply, outside 2906. Not seeing the lows yet. Pretty much, so we haven't wrote that video yet. And I'll blow you away when you see the comparisons. Average now 37 points. That should have been our dead ringer saying, I don't think the bulls are able to take this thing up much higher. If I'm right, today pencil high on the last hour. I was wrong because it wasn't a bullish day. It was a bearish day. So low in the last hour. All right. Put in a high now, holding the 2,900 level. Let's take a look at the pictures real quick. Now, I decided it's far too easy for me to just draw this on the YouTube, on the email, than it is for me to do it in the mail. Therefore, check out the subscriber and you get all the goodies here. All right. So when we came in on the Wyckoff wave, you can at least just see we were up. And that's a good thing and not so much a good thing, because it automatically assumes that there's that potential that'll be the high of the day. Another thing that'll tell you that is that big old volume spike. So were they selling on the opening print? Yeah, I kind of think they were. And then they sold all the way down. Get a little bit oversold. You can see the trend lines here. Get ourselves oversold, hence oversold as we come into the daily pivot. And, of course, as we break out the close of the previous day, and you can see a volume coming in. So what do you think, guys? That's most likely going to potentially be the low of the day, or it's going to be the point where the secondary test comes in. Automatic rally, secondary test. See, let's get that numbers work. Get this line right here, and you go right down to here, and you can easily say, right there would be the selling climax. Selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test. Secondary test was higher than the low, the selling climax, so now we got this potential for price to drift up and check what? Kind of test out where the opening was, pull back down, and of course we still came up with a higher high. So that's a good thing. Still yet, you got your base of accumulation right here. It's a beautiful day for that potential movement up, but still yet we're looking to probably check the half back to where we had the whole trading range. Guys, that's how you play it. That was a little bit above the halfback. Halfback would have been right there coming in on the floor trader pivot, which would have been the support, would have been the resistance, R1. Pretty much checked that and came back, and you can see now by selling pressure is pushing the market down and pushing the market down. At the very end of the day, same thing happens. Volume comes in and somewhat climaxes that move. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the E-mini. Not what you want to see, eh? I would say definitely the ease of movement is to the downside. You can definitely see how each one of these downward thrusts. And what do you see right here? Oh, my goodness. They got themselves what? Oversold. Easily see that. Easily see that. And probably get a fib extension all the way down to here. Volume comes in and climaxes a move. Obviously, the same thing was happening in the Wyckoff wave. Selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, and we tested it right there on the lows. And what do you see? You also see less volume. So the effort to push the price, in other words, the result, well, that's the way that goes. The effort, the effort was lagging the result. So that tells you pretty much that'd be the low. Come on up. Test a high, the best you can do is a little bit below the halfback, which means it's still a very, very halfback is about right there, which means that'd be a very weak day. And so now we're looking for price to sell off back and test the lows on volume, of course, which it did. And so for the most part, we had about the same amount of volume. So we might anticipate another test somewhere down the road. Same thing happens. Sorry, traders, this is for the WB proprietary work only. Just drop us an email at youtube@wyckoffamtrader.com and we'll get you on the fast track to understand what YouTube and what Wyckoff is. The clock definitely gave you the tell of the tape and the way the price should be playing out. All right, traders. We'll cut that up and take out all the good stuff for you from WB and leave all the other stuff in. So once again, I certainly appreciate your subscription. And thank you much for subscribing to the AM Turn. This is Wyckoff Trader. Be nimble. Be quick. Don't let that market make you